Okay, so let's go on to our next one, right? So on page 83, we converted standard form to scientific. Today, we're going to go the opposite way. We're going to convert scientific notation to standard form. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to do the opposite of what we did in our previous set. So, page 84. Here we go. We're going to do scientific notation to standard form. I need to write myself a little note right over here. All right. Here we go. So remember, scientific notation is a way to write really big or really small numbers in an easier way. So we are going to have a number that is written in scientific notation. So for example, we might have 9.13 times 10 to the 8th. Or we could have 6.1 times 10 to the negative 5th. So in order to convert these numbers into standard form, the numbers that we're used to seeing every day, you are going to follow these steps. So the first step is to write the decimal. The second step is you need to decide is it a big or a small number? Because if it's a big number, you're going to move the decimal to the right. And if it's a small number, you're going to move the decimal to the left. Because big numbers that get bigger, they add more zeros to the right of the side. And small numbers, they get smaller by adding more zeros to the left of it. So write down the decimal, and then you're going to decide, is it a big number or is it going to be a small number? And again, big and small, it's bigger than 0, less than 0. Larger, less than, but big and small work for our brain sometimes better. And then you're going to move the decimal, the number of the exponent. So in this problem, I'm going to move my decimal 8 times, and in this one, I'm going to move my decimal 5 times. I'm going to move backwards 5 times and move forwards 8 times in this one. And then you're going to fill in the missing spaces with zeros. And then we're done. I'm going to explain it. Don't panic. Here we go. Ready? Write the decimal. So up here, my number is 9.13. That's my decimal. I'm going to decide, is it going to be a big number or is it going to be a small number? Well, this one is going to be a big number because it's a positive 8 exponent. So a big number, I move the decimal to the right. I'm going to move that decimal the number of the exponent. So I'm going to move it 8 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my new decimal. It says now fill in the missing spaces with 0. So I've got a missing space here, 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 and here. So my answer is 9, 1, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's my answer. Let's try the next one, or the other example. So I'm going to write the number 6.1. Write the decimal. 6.1 is my decimal. I'm going to decide, is it a big number or is it a small number? Well, it's going to be a small number because my exponent is a negative. Small numbers, my decimals move to the left. My decimal is going to move backwards. So I'm going to move my decimal backwards 5 times. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to fill in my zeros or my spaces. And that's my answer. My answer is 0.000000. Some people like to put a 0 in the front of it. I will caution you, do not say, oh, Mrs. Long, I'll just add 5 zeros, and on this one, I'll just add 8 zeros. That's not how it works. It's the number of moves. Because if you notice, I moved 8 times here, but I didn't put 8 zeros because there were some numbers from my decimal taking up those spaces. Down here, again, I didn't just add 5 zeros to it. I moved my decimal 5 times. Let's do a little bit more practice. Let's go with 4.05 times 10 to the 9th. Let's go big. All right. Step number 1, write the decimal. 4.05. Step number 2, decide, is it big or is it small? Well, I have a positive exponent, so that means it's going to be big. Let's put a positive here and a negative here to kind of help us remember. A big number, I move my decimal to the right. It's getting bigger. It's getting larger. If I move my decimal here, it becomes 40.5. If I move it here, it becomes 405. Right? It's getting larger that way. So I'm going to move my decimal 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am going to fill in the missing spaces with zeros. And I'm going to write my answer. 4, 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my answer. Let's do negative 3.02 times 10 to the negative 4th. All right, is it going to be, write the decimal. Sorry, write the decimal. Negative 3.02. Is it going to be positive or big or small? Is it going to be big or small? It's going to be a small number because I have a negative exponent. So I'm moving my decimal backwards. I'm making it smaller. I'm going to move it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to fill in my zeros. Put a 0 there, 0 there, and 0 there. Remember, this was negative, so I've got to put that negative out front. I'm going to write my answer. Negative 0.000302. If you want to put a 0 in the front of it, you can. Doesn't change the answer. So again, my steps. You need to write the decimal down first. Then you decide, is it a big number or is it a small number? If it's a positive exponent, it's going to be a big number. You're moving your decimal to the right. If it's a negative exponent, it's going to be a small number, so you're going to move your decimal to the left. Write your decimal. Right up here, write my decimal. And I'm going to make 8 moves, big moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I fill in the spaces, the gaps with zeros, and that's my answer. For this one, I wrote my decimal. I knew it was going to be smaller, so I have to move backwards. I have to move it to the left. I'm going to move 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill in my zeros, my gaps with zeros, and then write my answer. Do not, I repeat again, do not say, oh, I see, just add the zero. Add, if it says -5, add 5 zeros. No, that's not it. If it says 8, add 8 zeros. No, that is not it, because we're not adding 8 zeros. We're moving 8 times. Down here, we're not adding 5 zeros. We're moving 5 times. Because sometimes one of those numbers, one of those moves, sometimes those moves are taken up by decimal values. So you cannot just add that number of zeros. You have to move the decimal that many times. You're going to need scratch paper to do this.